and for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line...
Want to vaccinate his kids. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Want to vaccinate his kids. What are you worried about his kids for? Okay? Now, if she would have said, want to vaccinate our children, okay, that's different. She said, but for those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, okay? Think about that. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I tried to watch the RFK hearing, and it felt very similar to what I would imagine it would feel like if someone sharpened their fingernails and then jabbed them through my eyeballs, while then someone took a screwdriver and just went into my ears. It's just like nails on a chalkboard, just nonsense. Listening to these people try to misrepresent all of his positions, it's unbelievable. Now, I heard that Elizabeth Warren's was the worst, and I have not watched it yet. So we're going to watch it together, and I'm going to react, and I have a feeling that I am going to completely flip out. So
I want to start with something that I think you and I agree on, and that is that Big Pharma has too much power in Washington. You've said that President Trump asked you to, quote, clean up corruption and conflicts. Sounds great. You've said that you will, quote, slam shut the revolving door between government agencies and the companies they regulate. That also sounds great.
You know what sounds great is you subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and then clicking the bell so you know every time that I upload, you can watch it right out of the gate.
So here's an easy question. Will you commit that when you leave this job, you will not accept compensation from a drug company, a medical device company, a hospital system, or a health insurer for at least 4 years, including as a lobbyist or a board member?
That is hilarious. That right out of the gate just shows what disingenuous shitbags these people are, dude. So, I'm sorry. RFK, who is specifically saying he wants to close the revolving door, he said that a million times. So at his confirmation hearing, you're going to put him on the spot and be like, so will you commit that you'll do that? When you are the senator, you could have done something about the revolving door this entire time, and you've never supported that because you're a corrupt, disingenuous liar. So let's not pretend that you actually care about the revolving door. Give me a break.
Can you just repeat the last part of the question? Can I commit
You're
to
not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this question.
I don't think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
Let's keep going. You're right because to say yes, because every American has the right to know that every decision you make as our number one health officer is to help them and not to make money for yourself in the future. So I want to talk more.
Where is she going with this exactly?
About money. I'm looking at your paperwork right now. In the past 2 years, you've raked in $2.5 million from a law firm called Wisner Baum. You go online, you do commercials to encourage people to sign up with Wisner Baum to join lawsuits against vaccine makers. And for everyone who signs up, you personally get paid. And if they win their case, you get 10% of what they win.
Yeah, that's called marketing a class action lawsuit. Okay, people do that. I have a buddy who that's his entire business. Is he goes out and markets to people who are going to join class action lawsuits. That's what he does. So what's your point, dude? Hey, let's not talk about the reason why those class action lawsuits exist against a drug company. Let's talk about the fact that RFK, who's probably more well-versed than every single person in this entire room on these topics, that he made money doing a job which was to recruit people to class action lawsuits, which is completely legal and normal work.
So if you bring in somebody who gets $10 million, you walk away with $1 million. Now, you just said that you want the American people to know you can't be bought. Your decisions won't depend on how much money you could make in the future. You won't go to work for a drug company after you leave HHS. But you and I both know there's another way to make money. So, Mr. Kennedy, will you also agree that you won't take any compensation from any lawsuits against drug companies while you are secretary and for
Why would he agree to that if he's already into a deal, okay, where he already put clients into the system, and if they are given a settlement, he's owed 10% of that? Why on earth would he, oh no, I'll just relinquish, why would he relinquish that? The entire reason we want him as the head of the the head of the HHS is specifically because he stands up to these organizations. These people, hey, remind me how you're, what you're like, what, an eighth Native American or 0%, you lying weirdo?
for 4 years afterwards.
Well, I'll certainly commit to that while I'm secretary. But I do want to clarify something because you're making me sound like a shill. I put
You're the
together
one who
that
got-
case. I did the Science Day presentation to the judge on that case to get it into court.
Mr.
The Daubert
Kennedy,
hearing.
Mr. Kennedy, it's just a really simple question.
Oh my God, I can't. Whoo, man, I can't. That's my number one biggest pet peeve with these fucking people, dude. Is she's like, I painted this picture, and he's all, okay, well, let me actually give you some. Mr. Kennedy, it's a very simple question. It's like, well, actually, it's not a simple question. And you people doing this is the reason no one trusts you or no one votes. Do you think we're all that stupid? Do you think we can't see what you're doing? Like, you really believe that we can't see what you're doing? You paint him as a shill, then he starts to give context, and he is specifically saying that he helped try those cases. Okay, he's saying that he was introducing science. I mean, I assume this is where he's going, or that's what it sounded like where he's going, that he introduced science into those cases. It's not like he just went out and like was like a huckster on TV. He's an attorney, and she knows that.
You've taken in $2.5 million. I want to know if you will commit right now.
Oh my God.
That not only will you not go to work for drug companies, you won't go to work suing the drug companies and taking your rake out of that while you're a secretary and for 4 years after.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The framing of that. Hey, will you guarantee that you won't hold drug companies accountable for their malfeasance now while you're in or after when you're whatever you're all? You think, hey, are you implying that these lawsuits are against literally the most, like, these companies have more felonies, more judgments against them than any other industry ever? And you're up there acting like he's the corrupt one because he helps people get paid out when the drug companies destroy their lives? Give me a break, Elizabeth Warren. You are a...
It's just
I'll commit to not taking any fees from drug companies while I'm secretary.
No. I'm asking about fees from suing drug companies. Will you agree not to do that?
Why?
You're asking me to not sue drug companies,
No,
and I'm
you
not
can
going to agree
sue
to that.
That's exactly what you are doing, Elizabeth Warren.
Drug
Senator.
companies as much as you want.
I'm not going to agree to not sue drug companies or anybody.
So let's do a quick count here of how, as Secretary of HHS, if you get confirmed, you could influence every one of those lawsuits. Well, let me start the list.
Good.
You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government level.
Oh, you mean you could influence the outcome of these like the way that you corrupt people, gave them indemnity over any kind of financial liability, no matter what happens when vaccines injure people? Oh, from the Department of HHS, you could really influence this. You mean the way that you guys literally set up the law to where they have no repercussions whatsoever? Someone could be at the plant and put arsenic in 1,000 shots and every single one of the kids dies, and they have no financial liability for that due to what you guys did in government. But we're super concerned about RFK, who has an entire career of holding gigantic corporations accountable for their malfeasance. But good job. No one is buying this anymore.
Letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint people
I don't
to the
understand that.
CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC
They share your anti-vax views and beep, 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 beep. He has literally said 500 times during this thing, that he is pro-vax. He said, I'm pro-vaccine 50,000 times. 50,000 times. Okay? This anti-vax conspiracy theory stuff that she's talking about is him pointing out the reality of the situation, which at the end of the day is going to keep on coming back to their indemnity from any kind of liability, no matter what happens with the jabs. They pass that law, and guess what? Incentives are very simple. They have no incentive to make them safe. No, he's not anti-vax. He is pro-vaccine. RFK says 5 million times he's pro-vaccine in this hearing. And they keep on saying the same stupid talking points that no one is falling for anymore. This is why, like, the days of you just coming up with some tagline and then running it down the mainstream media and that working, that's over, dude. You actually need people who can coherently go out and speak to people in long form and make it make sense. So if you try to misrepresent someone's views and just say, oh, he's anti-vax, he's anti-vax, just that, it's not going to work anymore. Because he's going to go on 50 different podcasts. He's going to say what he actually thinks, and you're going to be like, oh, so they just lied. They just lied, as usual.
Vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs.
Oh, you mean like he could remove the Hep B shot from the schedule that's given to newborn babies when the only way you can catch Hep B is with intravenous drug use or unprotected sex? You mean like he could potentially remove that particular one from the schedule? I mean, I can't imagine why someone who would be the head of the HHS would think that that'd be a good call, get rid of let's shoot a shot straight into a kid's bloodstream for, to inoculate them against something they have zero chance whatsoever of catching, but the pharmaceutical companies benefit. And also if the kid gets injured, they have no liability. You fucking idiot.
Which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation, even if there is no causal evidence.
There it is. There it is. That's what they're really concerned about, is him taking away their ability to avoid civil liability in the event that they injure people with their shots, which is exactly what they have now. They have no financial liability at all. Zero, no matter what. A kid could literally take one of their shots. They could have a doctor say, oh no, this is not a good idea for this kid, very high risk. And they can live in a state where medical exemptions don't matter. Like California, like you can't, a doctor cannot give you a medical exemption. So they have to take it anyway. And then the kid could get, their brain melted and they go into some kind of like, and the pharmaceutical company is not liable at all. Okay. Even if they're the ones who gave the instructions to the doctor for why the concerns of the parents were unfounded. Oh, there's no connection between this, and this. Here's our published study that, again, if there's arsenic in the shot, they still are not liable.
You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could
to bring junk lawsuits about vaccines. That is the funniest, most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You mean because now, how about completely legitimate ones? What do you do then? Oh, you can't sue them at all? Is there any way that she does not know that? I mean, is there any way she does not know that? And if any of you guys who happen to be watching my channel and consider yourselves on the left for a long period of time, and you're only watching this because you kind of like my face and the way that I talk, and this is starting to, resonate, like, wait a minute, wait, what? You can't sue the drug company? No, you cannot sue the drug companies, okay? And everything that these people are telling you is intentionally misleading you so that you don't realize that the system is rigged against you and rigged for the pharmaceutical companies, which is the number one thing that RFK wants to address, which is why they're panicking like this.
Change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program.
There you go. The vaccine injury compensation program, which is the taxpayers pay for people when they get injured, not the pharmaceutical companies, because the pharmaceutical companies wrote a bill and these fucking bought off idiots passed it.
There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are Secretary of HHS.
And hopefully he does exactly that.
Yes, and I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line?
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies.
Not.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No, I'm just saying don't take any money for it. Oh, okay, so he's going to be the very first person that does that. I mean, so he just has to do it pro bono? This guy's been preparing for this moment for decades.
Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing.
Good.
Across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line.
Want to vaccinate his kids. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Want to vaccinate his kids. What are you worried about his kids for? Okay. Now, if she would have said, want to vaccinate our children, okay, that's different. She said, but for those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, okay? Think about that. Okay, let's see if I can somehow get through the end of this. This is just unbelievably infuriating.
Is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
And then look at, hey, I love when like old decrepit people like her try to do things forcefully. She's all, and he could keep cashing in. Meh. Like she presses that button like she's got some kind of like force behind it. She's all, meh. It's like she's pressing it mad because you can't press it otherwise because you have the strength of a newborn baby. God, dude.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule. I will do that. The only thing I want is good science, and that's it.
How about then say you won't make money off what you do as Secretary of HHS?
I'm going to go ahead and just cut this video off so that I don't start saying really, really mean things that'll get me demonetized. So I would imagine you guys can guess where I stand on that little exchange. I mean, I told you, but these people are repulsive. Repulsive. Anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Bye-bye.